video game with?
Mace Windu.
He's got the whole room bipolar. That was a great answer. You had that locked in.
Oh, come on. Who wouldn't want to work with Samuel L. Jackson?
Hello.
Survivor. I'm curious what your favorite or most fun vocab scene was.
Oh, that's a good question. I don't know. You know, when we make those games take a very long time to make, so it is genuinely years of my life. And so you're going into work every day from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. or however long. And you kind of see it in a different way from my perspective of like, we're going in and we're going to do our job. And that job is very rewarding and also sometimes kind of challenging. I don't necessarily see them as like these like separate scenes of like, oh, this thing was like really like fun, or so much as that I tend to see it as a whole. That being said, I really loved, we had like a wonderful stunt coordinator named Darren Ross, and we had a lot of very, very, very talented stunt performers, and always getting the opportunity to be able to do the fight scenes and explore the duels was a lot of fun. We had some of the best martial artists in the world, and getting to learn, you know, what they do so well was always amazing. So I would say any of the fights were always a blast to be able to do.
Thank you.
Do you actually play to Fallen Order games in your own time? And if you do, how weird is it playing with yourself in a video game?
Crazy. You know, we play them as we're making them. So we play them in a lot of different versions as it's getting built. So we have a very large team of people. First, we have the side who are working on narrative, who are crafting all the stuff that we do on the performance capture stage. So that's a team of about 100 or so people that are working just in that stage. But then with Respawn and EA, there are hundreds of more people who are continuing to work on the game. And those people are working on a lot of things, from the combat design to the textures of the different clothes and the building the world around them, environments, you know, movement, everything that you could possibly think of, music. And all of those components are coming in bit by bit. And one of the most amazing things about being able to work with a talented group of people who are putting in a lot of amazing work is you get to see it built inch by inch. And eventually that becomes something monumental, something huge. But that doesn't happen overnight. That happens from the contribution of so many incredible people. And being able to continue to play it and see it built is amazing. And then once it comes out and it is released to the world, it's for everybody else. But that's the time that I really play the game, is during the creation of it.
Very nice.
Star Wars lightsaber fight scene, live action or animated?
Wow, that's a good choice. Yeah, that's a good question. There's so many to choose from. I don't know. Let's see. I mean, look. I know it's cliche, but it is probably still my favorite. Is the original Obi-Wan. Just because of what it represents. It's the first time that we were really exposed to that, and it has a emotional component to it that I think is really incredible. And all of the best fights, in my opinion, are ones that are a philosophical or emotional battle as well. So that would be my favorite. Awesome.
Wait, before you leave, do you have a favorite one?
Do I have to say anything?
I just wonder which one.
Actually, no, never mind. Revenge of the Sith, Anakin and Obi-Wan.
Okay, all right.
Something that they added in Survivor, Jedi Survivor, that they didn't really have in Fallen Order, was a lot more character customization. And I'm wondering if there's a particular outfit combination hair that you particularly liked, and if not, what's something you'd like added in Jedi 3?
Should we all say it on 1, 2, 3? 1, 2, 3.
Poncho.
Talk about doing a lot of like the mocap and for Cal Kestis. How much of Cal's mannerisms do you think are yours versus a character choice for Cal?
Yeah, it's a good question. I think it's really hard to separate yourself in that way. Obviously, we are all limited by our own musculature and mannerisms to a certain degree, and then just the way that what our voices are. It's an instrument that is then being utilized, and that can be tuned in different ways. But at some component, at some core piece, it has to be you. At least there has to be truth in it, if that makes any sense. But I don't know. There was a lot of work that went into specifically movement was a big thing. So it was how he holds himself, how he enters into situations, how he senses the world around him. Tom Keegan, who was the director, the performance director of the first Fallen Order, and then he came back for Survivor as well. But specifically for Fallen Order, we did a lot of work where we wanted Cal's a very intuitive character. He's very emotionally kind of in tune with the world around him, and he even has the ability to touch an object and kind of experience the emotional history of that object. And so what does that look like for a character who, when he enters into a situation, he feels these things, and what does that do? So we had a lot of talk about that specifically, and we did a lot of work with movement. I don't know. I don't know if I could say specifically like a percentage of what I am compared to Cal, but I think it's a really good question. So I hope in some way I answered it.
How's it going? So, how did it feel to join the Star Wars universe as Cal Kestis, and would you ever like to play the character in live action?
It feels good. I'm very thankful for it. It really is an honor. And that is a question that I receive a lot, and I think that my answer is always, if it was done right. If it was meaningful to the character and we were continuing to do something new and explore something interesting with him that was moving the story forward in some way, then yeah, absolutely.
Thank you.
Anybody that you wanted Cal to have a duel with that he hasn't already, who would it be?
Have a duel with?
Yeah. Like to the death, or like maybe just like a sparring. Like he doesn't have to kill him. That could open up a lot of opportunities.
Like very important, like end of the game, life or death. Yes.
Okay. All right.
Life or death?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like even if I did, I would maybe want to save it for people to experience and be surprised.
There we go.
So I'm gonna have to just leave that on a little.
Artfully dodge that. This is not the character you're looking at.
So, other than your canon lightsaber, which is blue, what is your all-time favorite lightsaber color?
I'm bringing it back to Mace Windu. I like a little bit of purple.
A little bit more of a gold/yellow lightsaber person.
Hey, that's good too. But I think that Rey kind of has the, she's cornered the market on that as well. So I love my blue. I really do like my canon blue as well.
Thank you.
I was wondering, of all of the characters you've played, what one you feel the most alike or related to?
Probably Piglet.
Thank you.
Yeah. I live in the 1,000 Acre Woods. Is that 100 acre? I live in the 1,000 acre woods.
What's the difference?
Yeah, I honestly, I don't know, because I genuinely, when I watch something that I performed in, which I don't really like to, but when I am forced to do it, I tend not to really see myself. I tend to see the work from that period of time and see the person that I got to know. So it's really hard to say what I'm alike. I don't know. And generally, I don't even really remember working on those sets. You kind of go into a bit of a fugue state. It's like a sort of self-hypnotism. So, yeah, I have no idea, but probably Piglet.
Thank you.
Your reaction to first seeing what would be the final designs for your companion in the Jedi games, BD1.
So, BD was actually designed before I even came onto the project, and BD is close to everyone who developed the game's arts. BD was kind of a tribute by Aaron Contreras, one of our lead writers, to his bulldog, who unfortunately has since passed and now is continued to be kind of a symbol honoring that dog, but also all dogs and all pets. It's sort of, he's kind of representative of not only companionship, but also the vulnerability and the innocence that exists within Cal himself. He is a point of access for him as a character. And, you know, for a video game, so much of your time as a character is spent by yourself running. And having a character to then be able to bounce off of and talk to gives a lot of insight and vulnerability into the Cal character himself. But yeah, BD's design was already finished by the time that I came onto Fallen Order, and you know, he was kind of affectionately a mixture of bird and dog-like qualities. So for a time, he was called Bird Dog 1. And he is still my favorite droid in the Star Wars universe, and will always be. So.
Thank you.
Is Jedi Fallen Order and Jedi Survivor being the great games they are, probably my favorites of all time. So thank you for doing that. And how was it to join the Star Wars universe and be accepted like that? I think it was pretty well received as a media. And then the second question is, will there be a poncho in the third game?
Spoilers, bro. Disney has shooters. We can't talk about it.
We need the poncho.
Campaign, but he cannot answer. Yes.
Running a campaign, my platform is ponchos.
There he is.
Ponchos for President 2020. Yeah, I mean, first of all, it genuinely is an honor. Star Wars is something that has over, 50 years of history at this point? Almost 50 years. You know, and to be able to, in some way, contribute to that story in the world overall is incredible. It was always important for us to be able to explore something new and try to contribute a different perspective to whatever that story was. So, you know, I'm thankful that we have had the opportunity to be able to do that, and to be able to contribute ponchos is definitely one of those things. So, you know, I will tell them that you have demanded ponchos, and then we'll have a conversation in the future.
Thank you.
Came back to the second game, I felt like it was a much darker middle chapter. How did you approach that, Cameron? And really excited for game 3.
Thank you. So I didn't create this by myself. You know, this is very much a community of talented, hardworking people, and that starts with the writers and the heads of the department terms of the creation of the game. We were very, very lucky for Fallen Order and Survivor that we had really, really, really talented writers. And so we had a lot of conversations between the first and the second of what we would like to see done with this character and the story, and where it takes place in the galaxy, where what is happening in basically the rise of the fascistic empire means that it's by nature going to be a darker story. There's not a lot of moments of reprieve for Cal. But what was always important for us was not just making something edgy or dark or mature for the sake of that, but instead that is the nature of that situation, and still finding a perspective and a voice and a heart within that. That's something that's really important for this character, I think, is he is ultimately a person who is trying to do the right thing in a situation where there's not necessarily any right answers. So yeah, that's something that we have explored with the character, and I would love to continue to explore it in the future. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Cameron, you are truly one of the most gifted, grounded, and